Hey, and welcome to Trigger Talk, brought to you by The Real Shot, coming to you live from Fix Studios here in Appleton, Wisconsin. Glad to have you along with us. I'm Mark Druick. Steve Gildevan is here with me today, and we've got a special guest, Kelli Wersham, as well. And we're going to be talking deer stories. And you know, Steve, you've got some, and I've got some, and we brought Kelli in because she's had a great experience this year as well. But Kelli, to start off a little bit, you know, obviously you have a passion for the outdoors. How did this all get started for you?
Well, it first started with meeting a new friend who introduced me into hunting.
Okay.
And just hearing his stories growing up and stories of experiences he had with his dad out when he was a kid, it just really got me interested in trying it for myself. And a few years ago, well, about 5 years ago, we had a ladies archery night here at The Real Shot. And
I remember.
I came out here and actually met a girl who's now one of my best friends. And somebody here introduced us to the Learn to Hunt program through the DNR. And her and I signed up for our first hunting experience going to Learn to Hunt turkeys.
Yeah, that's excellent. And, you know, I think that's what, you know, places like this, the Real Shot, offering opportunities for people, you know, to get involved in the outdoors. And I think we had several events, and if I'm not mistaken, you showed up for just about every single one of them. And I think, you know, that just shows that your interest level was high and you were willing to learn. And yeah, I remember the Learn to Hunt program that you participated. I think we had 3 ladies that were in that turkey hunting program. And I think that just piggybacks on what we try to accomplish here is, you know, equipping people and creating opportunities. That Learn to Hunt program, talk about that a little bit. What did you think about that?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for somebody like me who didn't grow up hunting, didn't have any close family to teach me about hunting. And it's through the Wisconsin DNR. You go out on their website, fill out an application, and they had a number of different opportunities.
Right.
I started out with turkey. I wasn't successful, but we got to see a lot of turkeys in the field strutting around and a couple fox walking through the field, so it was a great experience.
Yeah, I think that the Wisconsin DNR has done a great job of creating these Learn to Hunt programs. And I know they have other ones as well. Did you participate in any of our other Learn to Hunt programs? I
did. Right after the Learn to Hunt turkey, I applied for the Learn to Hunt bear, which was awesome experience. I got paired up with another female hunter.
Oh, nice.
So up by Lady Smith, and my mentor, Angie, was amazing. And I got my bear our first afternoon out hunting. Your first afternoon? Yeah.
Tell us about that. That had to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was. We went through a few hours of instruction with a DNR warden. We had to go do a field test, show that we were proficient with a firearm. Mm-hmm. And then Angie and I went out to her stand, and what amazed me was just how used to certain repetitive actions that the animals get to. Like every time she would go out and bait, she would, you know, dump the bait and bang on the bucket. And within a half an hour, the bears are coming in.
Sure.
So it was an awesome experience.
You know, that's, you know, bear hunting is one of the last things that I have to accomplish here in Wisconsin. I'm looking forward to that. I have enough points now. We'll see how that goes coming up, and I've got some people that want to get me out there, but it's one of the only things that I haven't done yet here in the state of Wisconsin. But, you know, how exciting for you that, you know, you take an interest in that and you know, you seek out the opportunities. And I think that's what's really key. You know, it starts out with something as simple as maybe shooting a 22, or somebody taking you out to the gun range, somebody show you how to shoot a crossbow, all these little things that can contribute to developing that passion for the outdoors. And Steve and I mean, Steve, you and I have been deer hunters for, like, I think we were weaned on deer hunting.
Yeah, 12 years old, going out with my dad in Wapaka County.
Sure.
All smoothbore shotguns. Sometimes the really lucky hunters had adjustable rifle sights on their shotguns. A lot of us started with just as a plain barrel with a bead on it and hoping for the best.
Right. So 12 years old. Yeah, I think you got me beat on that a little bit. I didn't start until my later teens. I didn't have anybody in my family that, was really a deer hunter, but my buddies were, and they were big on, getting me out there because we duck hunted and grouse hunted and did all that other goose hunted and all that other kind of stuff. So, took a shot at that. Shot my first deer with a Fred Bear whitetail, which is kind of archaic when you look at all the archery equipment that they have nowadays. But you know what? It worked.
My first deer on the ground was a Bear Kodiak Magnum, 52-inch recurve. I was standing about 52 inches at that time myself. So it was in my case, it was a longbow.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I think I've been fortunate to grow up in that situation, and I know you have too. And fortunate for Kelly that that there's so many groups and people out there now that want to take other people out, that want to dedicate their time and their knowledge. And I remember getting involved in the Learn to Hunt program, and people are, so how long have you been turkey hunting? Well, probably about 35 years, but I'm looking forward to learning from you. And I said, well, the one thing I can do is teach you what not to do, because I've made just about every mistake in the book. And that's, that's kind of what the outdoors is like. And then when it comes down to deer hunting, it's the same thing. Once
you've eliminated all the mistakes,
yep.
the easy part is not doing that.
Is not doing that part of it. But so did you do? Obviously, you hunted with the gun. Did you try deer hunting with the bow?
Yep, I've gone out 3 years now with the bow. I haven't been successful with the bow yet, but I really do enjoy being out there with the bow. I go out on public land for bow season, so I'm not carrying out a bunch of gear. It's just more being in touch with nature. I bring a chair and I sit on the ground.
Yeah, well, and if you go out the first year and expect to shoot something, it doesn't always happen that way. But the cool thing is, and I'm sure Steve, you agree with me on this, that being in the woods during the fall is, you see there's so much other activity and things that are going on.
Yeah, that's, to me, that's my religion, is being in the woods, being out in nature. To me, winter is great, spring sucks, summer bugs, fall is life. Yeah. I love the autumn and into early winter when the hunting's going on. Probably has something to do with it. I just think the woods is prettier that time of year. The woods, the marsh, everything.
Agreed. And it's you're seeing a totally different transition. Spring, all the birds are coming back. They're singing now. All the squirrels are busy. The birds are starting to migrate through. You'll see flights of different types of songbirds and things of that nature. So the woods is very much alive as it is in spring with all the activity that's going on. But in the fall, too, there's a different purpose to it. Hopefully you're successful in whatever it is you do, if you grouse hunt or hunt. But to me, it's therapy. And walking through the woods on a nice October afternoon in the middle of Langley County hunting grouse, that makes everything good.
Well, yeah, you talk about hoping for success. You're out there, so it's a success.
Yeah,
it's a success.
Okay, you spell that for it?
Having a problem with my words today.
Yeah, exactly. But is that the same way it is for you too, Kelly?
It is. I like just being outside, and you never know what you're going to see. I mean, the goofy squirrels running around.
Yeah, they're entertaining in themselves, just watching how they interact with all the other squirrels and so on and so forth. But, obviously deer hunting is a huge tradition here in Wisconsin, and so many of us have participated in it. And you, this year, had some great success and shot a beautiful animal. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how that all came about?
Yep. This year I was lucky enough to get my first buck. I've got a few does in the past, but this was my first buck. And this year was actually kind of last minute for everything. I didn't know where I was going to be going, which stand I was going to be sitting in until about 7 o'clock the Friday before opening morning. So we got out there, and it was a quiet morning. I saw a couple small does come through, which I'm just excited to see something. And about 10:30, I saw a doe come walking by. I'm like, oh, maybe I should pick the gun up. Maybe something else will be coming too. And not far behind was this 10-point buck, and he gave me a perfect shot. And the rest is
kind of history. What goes through your mind? I mean, it's hard to describe that to people, and people say, well, why? What is it about deer hunting? What is it that trips your trigger, so to speak, about hunting whitetail deer here in Wisconsin? What kind of emotions and what is your brain going through when you first see that animal?
Gosh, it's a whole whirlwind for me. I get emotional anyway. Like, I've always struggled with taking a life with hunting.
Sure.
Like, would I be able to shoot? And I still get emotional after every harvest, and I'm so grateful after every hunt, every successful hunt. But I enjoy having the meat in the freezer too.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like that for me too. You are harvesting animals, and I get emotional too. You go down, you put your hands on them, and you're grateful at that point in time. And for the opportunity to do that, you're providing food for yourself, and there's so many different aspects of that. But I think that's natural. From my perspective as well, is being emotional, and you're on this, your adrenaline's going, and all of these things, and you put your hands on them. It's hard to describe really what that feeling is, but it's a cool thing, and I think that is part of what going out there hunting is. But there's so much more that goes with it. Steve, how about you?
Yeah, I think if you're not a little emotional, whether it's a squirrel, a mallard, or a beautiful buck like this one, if you're not a little emotional about it, you need to stop and reevaluate what's going on in your life, because it's a privilege.
Yeah, hunting is not a right, it's a privilege, and we should be grateful for the opportunities to do what we're doing. Were you hunting with other individuals, Kelly?
Yep, I was hunting with my brother-in-law's dad and his dad's friend. So my brother-in-law doesn't hunt, and his dad was kind enough to let me join him and his group out there on his land down in Marquette County.
Very cool.
I'll bet they were thrilled for you.
Oh, they were. I think they were just as happy as I was.
Yeah. I've had that opportunity a few times in my life to help somebody else and see various levels of success. I got to be honest with you, I never put anybody onto a buck this good. But it's still, there's always that feeling of, I helped them to get to this point. Take a lot of pride in that.
And that brings up it's perfect, because we're making a difference. Impacting people's lives through the outdoors is a huge thing. And when you can be a part of that, and I think, at least for me, being in the outdoor business, if I set somebody up with a bow, or work on their bow, or do some work, whatever, or give them information, I feel like I've had just a tiny part of their success. And when they come back and they bring a picture, like yourself, Kelly, that kind of makes pulls it all together.
It really does. It really does. I've had a lot of those little successes in my life as a retailer, whether it was helping a guy get his gun up and running in the nick of time. I got a great story on that. We'll save for a different time, but it was, there was actual applause involved. But anything that you can do to help, and there's maybe there's a little greed involved in that. I want that feeling to have helped somebody. That's partially what brought me into this business. Partially is just a freaking love of guns. Speaking of guns, what were we using? We got to get to that point. What kind of gear were we having?
I was using a Winchester Model 70 featherweight compact.
Yeah.
It's a bolt action.
Perfect.
Well,
Yeah.
it's classic. Model 70 featherweight is a version of what is currently long time been referred to as the rifleman's rifle, or in this particular case, the riflewoman's rifle. What caliber?
308.
Yeah, you got my approval right across the board. And how far was the shot?
It was actually a pretty close shot, maybe about 50 yards.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
Those are the good ones. Did you drop on the spot or?
He ran about 30 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't have much of a trail to follow, but
That's-
saw where he
did you see him
went.
go
And
down?
yeah,
That's a thrill. After the shot, and you're pretty sure on the hit, and time slows down, doesn't
it does.
And all of a sudden, you see the back end gets a little wobble-legged, and they tip over, and yeah, I can actually feel it right now.
I got goosebumps talking about this because there's been times where I've harvested deer here in Wisconsin and in other places in the country that it took me, I had to gain my composure to get out of the stand. It's like, if I get out of here right now, I'm going to trip on something. You just got to kind of settle down and take a deep breath. Your heart rate's pounding, and it's like, well, I know right where it is, and I just need to get myself together. And that you can't get to the animal fast enough. I've never run, but I've walked briskly to get to the animal. And no, this is your first whitetail?
My first buck.
Your first
I've gotten
buck.
does before. That first buck.
That's a big deal. You remember your first buck?
Oh, God, yeah.
Like it was yesterday, right?
It was yes. I can still picture it. It was somewhat smaller than this one by about 75, 80%. 25 yards. I was using a Remington 870 Wingmaster with a smoothbore slug barrel, and I had a Weaver Quick Point red dot sight on it. It was the first of the red dot breeds. Walked past 25 yards, snowy morning, still wasn't full light out. We had a piece of property. I can picture the rocks. There was a lot of granite rocks. And he was picking his way along slowly, and I put that dot on his front shoulder, and when I pulled the trigger, he went right up over on his hind legs and came down on his back, dead on the spot. And that was a wow. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that whole, camaraderie thing that when you're hunting with people and somebody can give you a high five, and it's nice to share some of those experiences. And I think there's still some pretty solid deer camps, left in Wisconsin that are generational, but
yeah, they're slowly disappearing.
Yeah.
The camps are going away because the land is going away. There's more hunters than ever, but they're all hunting smaller tract. How big a property were you hunting down
It
there?
was 40 acres.
Okay. And you were alone on it, or
Nope, 2 other people.
okay, so total 3 people on 40 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's becoming the norm.
Yeah.
These days.
Yep.
And personally, the last half dozen deer I've killed, I've shot on my own little 10-acre plot. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, I live on it, so.
Well, how convenient is that? But that's the beauty of it, though. To have your own, little slice of heaven, if you will, that you can hunt, that that it holds deer, whether it's a bedding area, a feeding area, or a transition area. You kind of figure that out, whether it's 10 or 40 or 80. Start to get a little bit bigger. Things change a little bit, but it's. I think that's part of the fun of hunting. Is back when we first started, a gazillion years ago, we didn't have trail cameras or any of that stuff. All of our scouting was done, in the spring, shed hunting and looking for sign and looking for bedding areas and things of that nature. Utilizing your woodsman skills, if you will, to try and figure out where these animals were. And we were hunting a lot of areas in northern Wisconsin, which is, big tracts of land. But if you do your homework, you kind of figure out where those deer transition from, where they are in the summer to where they are in the fall to where they actually, spend their winter months. But nowadays, you just look at your phone and it goes ding, and there's a picture, which is great. I think it's absolutely perfect that, because not everybody has the time to go out and do that kind of stuff, but it's nice.
The sport itself, in all its facets, has changed over the years. We're not using flintlocks anymore, and everybody has to wear blaze orange, and the rifles have gotten better quality. The optics have gotten better. The tracks have gotten smaller. The woods have gotten more crowded. The deer herd's actually gotten bigger in most cases. So it's just a natural transition. We think about. I've heard stories about what it was like hunting in Wisconsin back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s when you could go an entire season without seeing a deer because there weren't that many. Hunting was a totally different thing. People didn't climb up in trees back then.
Right.
My first deer I shot out of a tree, but I was standing on a big flat branch about 6 feet off the ground because at that time there were no such thing as portable tree stands. And it was illegal in Wisconsin at that time to attach a board to a tree for you to stand on. Right. You couldn't do that. What the thinking was at that point, I'm sure it had to do with conservation of the trees themselves. They didn't want people putting nails in trees. But it's come a long way. The very first climbing tree stand, the Baker tree stand, I had one of those. Got the scars to show it.
Yeah. The technology has played a really huge part in people's success today, which is great. I mean, it's evolution. It just happens.
Were you in a ground blind or a tower?
I was in a ground blind.
Ground blind?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've sat in ladder stands before, never tried out a climber yet. But all of my deer I've gotten have been out of ground blinds.
The good news is when you decide to try a climber, they're a lot better than the old Baker.
Yeah, you don't take as frequent of bark rides with these.
Oh my God! Well, you can always tell if somebody had a Baker tree stand is they had bark under their fingernails and no buttons on their shirt.
Perfect.
Taking that ride down the trunk.
Yeah, a bark ride, not fun. But it's obviously a different perspective being in a ground blind, but that's becoming more and more popular these days. And the deer, it doesn't really seem to bother them all that much.
No, I haven't noticed. I've had some come right up to the windows and kind of look in.
Sure.
Some little ones, which was kind of neat to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Did you set your blind up ahead of time?
No, the landowner had that blind out there already.
He had it out for you.
Yeah.
So there were times when like turkey hunting and such, I'd hunt out of a ground blind using my bow and attempted to do that several times deer hunting, but I couldn't make the transition from the tree stand to the ground blind as well because I couldn't see as well. You get up 15 feet, and I hunted out of 15-foot ladder stands, which is plenty high, but being able to see, I don't know, it was a little bit more.
To me, it's more about the visibility than it is about the advantage of being up in the air.
Sure.
Strictly from the shot placement perspective.
Yeah.
I prefer being on the ground, but I like the visibility I get from being up higher.
Yeah. No. There's. And what's funny is you set your stands up and you climb up there and you can see all of this, but then as soon as you get down on there, it looks nothing like it. It's like
where was that thing standing when I shot?
Yeah, where was it? That perspective of where the deer is, and you think you shot it here and it went this way, and just the how different things look when you get 15 feet up in a tree stand. But especially if you're bow hunting, sometimes I don't know. I guess I'll ask you guys this question: would you rather be watching the deer come towards you, or would you rather have them just kind of pop up and surprise you?
Kelly, you go ahead.
What I mean,
I'd like to see them coming.
Sure.
Be able to get prepared for them.
Yep.
Get ready for the shot. But being that I go out on public land, and when I'm out for bow season, especially, I'm usually out by myself.
Okay.
That I tend to play it a little safer.
Right.
I can be a little bit clumsy.
Agreed.
I love everything about being able to see out great distances right up until it comes time for that big buck, that one that I wanted bad. The longer I have to watch that animal move toward me, wondering if I'm going to get the shot or not, the higher the probability that I am going to screw it up and screw it up bad. If I have 15 minutes to watch a big buck walk into shooting distance, I might as well just throw my junk on the ground because I am not going to make that shot. I don't know. I have killed a lot of bucks. I've killed several very, very good bucks, but the biggest bucks I've ever screwed up on in my life were because I had a long time to think about it. And by the time I got the shot off, I was a nervous wreck.
Yeah, and when you spend a lot of time in the woods, I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me, is you'll be looking, you'll see some deer coming, from your right a little bit, and, you look back over, you don't see anything, and you're watching these other ones, and then all of a sudden you look, and there's a deer there. And it's like, how did that thing manage to get there without me seeing it or hearing it? And it's boom. Okay, now we got to play the eyeball game. What can I move? What can I get away with? And I couldn't tell you how many times I've had that happen. You're so focused on looking at, deer over on this side, and without even hearing anything. And it's amazing to me that these animals can walk through the woods and not make a sound.
Yeah,
pretty crazy stuff. But I think as you progress and you're deer hunting, you're going to have all these cool experiences, and you can sit down and talk with people and share that. And I think that's one of the cool things about that, is telling all the stories.
Yeah, I always like seeing what the different mannerisms that the deer have. Like you talked about the head game, the eye game, watching them bob their head and stamp their feet and snort at you a little bit.
Yep.
The
Exactly.
big doe standing there looking and looking and looking. All of a sudden they do this thing with their front leg go.
Yep, I'm busted, and
things are about to go sideways.
Well, there's been situations that those big adult does like that. They're the worst. So once they discover you're there, they're going to let everybody know. And I think killing a big adult doe is more difficult than killing a younger buck. A mature
There's certainly
adult,
more satisfaction involved.
I think so. It's been that way for me. I've shot more does than bucks, and for a while there, I was targeting adult does.
Yep.
Because they know everything that's going on, and they're the wariest creatures, I think, in the woods here in Wisconsin. And when you can put one of those, you can harvest one of those, I think that's a huge accomplishment.
There's been a couple times, and I will freely admit, the sportsman in me stepped aside and the assassin stepped in. And I wanted a particular doe real bad because she had screwed me up so many times, and I finally got that shot at her and lay her down and go, take that. I mean, thank you. But take that.
Yeah. And I've had them blow, and they don't stop. They can even be walking away, and then you're done. You might as well get out of your tree stand and head for the vehicle and grab a cup of coffee, because it's just just like there's this dead silence in the woods. Nothing. I don't even think the squirrels move at that point in time. It's unbelievable.
No, when you've got birds sitting in the tree looking at you, did you really have to start this?
Yeah. Did this really have to happen?
This is your fault.
Yeah, it is. When you talk about firearms too, Steve, there's so many guns out there, and I'll bring one up, the 350 Legend. That's another great 6.5 Creedmoor. These are great whitetail rounds.
Yep. Yeah, the 6.5 Creedmoor has been the trendy round these last, 5-6 years now, something like that, maybe a little bit more. And as Mike Williams, our own Real Shots own Mike Williams, would like to say, it's not doing anything that you couldn't do with other calibers, and there's very valid points there. You can say that about just about every other cartridge out there introduced in the last 20 years. But still, 6.5 Creedmoor, the last deer I killed with a gun, I shot with a 6.5 Creedmoor, and it did the job just like I expected it to. Recoil's a little bit lighter than I would experience with, say, a 308 or a 270 30-06, certainly.
Yeah.
It's a very efficient round. But from an industry's perspective, and also I think from a person who's interested in the outdoors total perspective, one of these things these new cartridges do is it sparks new interest in equipment. And it's the equipment manufacturers and the ammo manufacturers. Let's not get started on the ammo thing right now.
Right.
But it drives everything in a big circle. And sure, there's the financial aspect of it, but it keeps people interested in the outdoors. It keeps the whole thing alive, and retail is a part of that.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, the 350 Legend, I think, stepped in to fill a void that was pretty out. I think a lot of us didn't even know it existed. The 350 Legend, and you purchased one, was purpose designed by Winchester to meet the criteria of certain states that are essentially their deer hunting laws say slug only with an asterisk. Except you can also use rifle cartridges that use a straight wall, no bottleneck. That is designed to keep the ballistics at a certain point where we're not talking about rifle-like performance, more like handgun or shotgun performance. It's a built-in restriction. Well, they took that essentially a 223 casing and they blew it out straight wall, which is, again, the criteria they're looking for, a straight wall. And it turns out we're looking at about a 9mm or 355 diameter bullet. And I don't know how they did it, but they've got bullet weights in what's generally considered big game bullet weights, 150 grain plus.
Yeah.
And they've got this thing performing a little bit better, I would say, than, say, a 30-30 with recoil that's lighter than a 243.
Yeah.
So it's a great kids round. It's a great light rifle round if you want to carry a light rifle but don't want punishing recoil. Under 225 yards, 200 yards and in, it's performing beautifully. And you tell me you shot a deer with it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's nice, lightweight, no recoil, and it puts the animals down. There's enough power in there. The deer I shot wasn't about 85 yards, and didn't go anywhere. So
85 yards in 10 years from now, that'll be 150. And then you're telling your great grandchildren that it was a 400-yard shot.
It was actually 20, but I'm already at that stage of it being 85 yards.
Like my dad once told me, he said research has shown that the average 400-yard shot on a whitetail deer is taken at 150 yards.
Right. But yeah, a great round, and like you say, with my trips down to Iowa, that really supplemented the 12-gauge slug nicely. 12-gauge slugs, they kind of beat you up a little bit. Not that I didn't, wasn't successful using that, but this just gave me a whole different, spot and stalking, because I like to do a little bit of that. You're not hauling that big shotgun around. You got this nice lightweight gun, shoulders quickly, if you have to.
You got the Ruger American Compact.
The Ruger American Compact.
Not the Compact, the Ranch Rifle.
Ranch Rifle. Yep.
Which they also make in a compact.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's a great gun, great round. Substantially less recoil than a slug gun, and so yeah, it's suited well. And I think that's another one of those that, in after I bought mine, I think there was a lot of interest in the store. People come in and talking to it. Now I think there's even more interest. I can still continue to see it build. I had a gentleman come in the other day looking for one as well.
It's, like I said, it's great for those states. I know Iowa, I think Indiana, Illinois.
There's a few of them, yes.
The I states. Probably not Idaho, but
no, I think you can shoot
others.
Big guns out there. Anyway,
but also a great kids gun, and can be had as an AR platform gun. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about building an upper for my AR in the 350 Legend, not because I need one, but because I want one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And, and then I think that's a fun thing about, firearms. If there's something, and I know Steve got, you love to shoot and you've shot so many different types of things. It's fun to try something different, just to see how it reacts. And then maybe that's the one you want to shoot. Maybe that's the one you don't. But now there's so many offerings out there. But, obviously now with the ammo situation, but that's going to change.
The ammo situation is definitely going to change. We don't need to beat that horse right now.
Nope.
But, it's getting better, and it's going to get worse. And if there's a lot of ammunition available, it's just not universally available in all calibers. Okay, so if you personally need this ammo and this ammo and this ammo, and all three of them could very well be available, the ammo shortage is over.
Yeah.
If you are looking for the ammo that is not, the ammo shortage is critical right now. So it's just wait your turn. The manufacturers are working their butts off to get as much ammo out there as they possibly can. Just relax, take a deep breath, have a little eggnog, and before you know it, the ammo is going to be available again, and you'll be able to complain about something else instead of ammunition.
Yep. Perfect. Well, I think with that being said, our product highlight, we should chat a little bit about what was sitting behind us here.
Yeah.
This tripod, which from Bog, I mean, the death grip, we've done well with that. I think it suits everything that, for firearms and for crossbows.
Yep. This thing's got so much, it's so sturdy. It's got so much adjustment to it. Do you use any sort of support, a shooting rest when you're hunting?
I have a shooting stick, but
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to even pull it up this year.
Well, that close a shot.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, great. It's great for, it's lightweight. It's not real super heavy, folds up nice and compact. And
Definitely for range use, for practice, but also in a ground blind. I could see this being just ideal. You could leave your arm rested, ready to go out your shooting port, your window,
right,
over the top, whatever kind of blind you have.
Yeah, and it's got all the adjustments. Everything that you need gets it in there nice and tight, so you got a nice solid, shooting platform.
Solid is the word. I look at this thing and I think it's engineered better than a lot of small cars are today.
Honestly, and the response back from the people who have purchased them is like, wow, it's a lot better than what I thought it was.
Yeah, the adjustability, everything. It's just, again, an example of industry taking something that we've known for a long time and saying we can build that better. And Bog's one of those companies.
Yes, we've done well with a lot of their bipods, and I think we've had some of their monopods too, haven't we?
Yep. And I've got a cheaper tripod that they make, lighter, smaller, more portable,
sure,
but not quite as strongly built. I've had trouble keeping those in stock over in the gun department. Mike sells these out of the archery department. They, again, can be used for crossbows or firearms equally.
Yep.
What does this thing sell for?
I think it's like $159.99.
That's an awesome value. This thing's got more adjustment to it. The learning curve leaps to mind. There's going to be a learning curve involved.
Right. No, I'm at $169. $169.99. So again, one of those things that, if you do a lot of hunting, you do turkey hunting, you do, deer hunting and out of ground blinds and stuff like that, pretty cool, pretty essential to have one of these things. It does definitely help you out. It gives you a nice solid shooting platform.
Again, even if you're not going to hunt with it, just something that, especially if you like to shoot on private property where you don't have a formal shooting range, but you still want to get a little bit higher level of precision instead of dragging the picnic table over on rocky ground.
Yep.
This thing can be set up so it's just absolutely rock solid.
Yep, perfect. The Death Grip by Bog. You can get those right here at The Real Shot. We're located at 1919 East Calumet Street, and we encourage you to check out our website as well. It is therealshot.com. And Kelli, it's been great to sit here and have you part of Trigger Talk today and tell us your buck story. And do you have anything that any other animals or something that you have on your list?
Oh gosh, I'm just starting out. I mean, I would love to go out west and
Sure.
and do some hunting. But I have to thank you guys for always giving such great advice when I come in and answering questions.
Well,
You've helped me a lot on the journey.
well, like we alluded to earlier, it's nice to, make that connection with people, and you feel like you had played a little bit of part in their success, whether you gave them a little bit of information or you set them up with a gun or, in Steve's case, mounting bore sighting scopes, whatever it is. That's one of the most gratifying aspects of our jobs, is being able to get people out there, and when they are successful, and they come back and show us a picture, which we have all kinds of pictures out on our board in between the store. It's just nice to have people, and over the years, we've connected with so many people, including yourself, and we appreciate your business here. Is they know you guys know you can come in here, and we're going to steer you the right way.
Yep, definitely.
Well, again, congratulations
Very
on this.
much.
this
I want
beautiful
to see you do. There you go. That's perfect. That's what I was looking for.
That is a
Yes.
beauty.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Well done. And for your first buck, everybody out there knows what it's like to shoot your first buck, and that's pretty awesome.
Yes, thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, thanks for taking the time to tune us in here on the Trigger Talk, brought to you by The Real Shot. And thanks to our production crew here at Fix Productions in Appleton, Wisconsin. On behalf of Steve Gildevan and myself and Kelly, we appreciate you joining us here. And see you next time on Trigger Talk.